Hello everybody. First of all, thank you for all your comments and feedback. Here I am for a new video. I didn't know what to talk about. I was actually asking some of you what could I talk about, and I didn't know what. And actually these days I've been very busy studying because I have some exams in February. Here in Spain, when you are at university, you have exams mainly 2 months in a year. The first ones are in February and the last ones in June. If you pass everything in June and in February, you have the whole summer free. You can enjoy the beach and the sun and all that. But if you fail some of the exams in February or in June, you have to go to the exams of September. So you have to study during the summer. So this year I'm gonna try to not study during the summer and try to pass it, but that's gonna be a hard task. So I thought that apart from showing you some of my subjects, for example, sociolinguistics, which I really like. I like linguistics and I love sociolinguistics, and English grammar. Who said that English grammar was easy? Well, it's not. It's true that it's easy to learn English grammar, like basic grammar, but this book focuses on syntax and to how do you analyze every clause, each clause in the sentence, and a lot of things. Well, it has like 600 pages, so that's quite a lot. And then, I don't know why, but in my degree I have a lot of literature. So here's my American literature book. So among all these books, I thought that I could talk about education, the education system, about how schools and universities work regarding languages, of course, because I'm an English learner, so I thought that I could focus on languages. I don't know in other countries, but here in Spain, children spend 8 years or even more at school, and when they finish school, they can't speak English. They can understand very simple sentences. They have a very simple vocabulary, but they've been learning English for 8 years. They were supposed to be advanced learners, and they're not at all. So I've always wondered why does happen. Well, first of all, I think it is because when you have 25 children in a classroom, the only thing you end up doing is grammar exercise, like filling the gaps exercises. And that's not the way of learning a language at all. You don't talk with a person filling the gaps, for example. So, but what could they do? I mean, they have 25 children in a classroom, and they could make debates, but maybe a debate with 25 children is difficult. I don't know, but sometimes I feel quite embarrassed about my country and about Spanish people talking English, because I see people from other countries. For example, I meet people on Skype, and they tell me, I've been learning Spanish for 3 years, and maybe they've been talking in Spanish with me for 1 hour. And for me, that's incredible. That's so good, because here people spend all their lives learning English, and at the end of the day, they don't speak good English. I'm sorry, but it is like that. So what are the keys to learn a language? What are the keys? I just said that learning only grammar, I don't think it's a good idea. But instead of that, some people say, well, you learn a language like a baby, you just have to have fun and play. And I don't agree with that either. Because it's true, babies learn languages just listening, but that's because they are babies. We are not babies anymore. I'm sorry, but we're not babies. And the brain, the human brain, loses the ability to learn a language in that way. We are adults and we need to understand things and we need to know why. Because when someone, when you ask someone, how do you say this in English, or how do you say that in Spanish, they can say to you, well, it is like this. And if you don't understand, or if it is a new structure for you, you ask, and why is that? Well, that's because you're an adult. So welcome to the club. You're an adult, you need to understand things. It's good to have fun, but you also need to understand. And grammar is needed to understand the language. So for me, the solution is a combination of both things. You need grammar, you need to have fun, you need not only to fill in the gaps, but you also need to speak. You need to listen, because if you don't listen to native speakers, maybe you can understand your teacher, but when you go out of the class and you encounter a native speaker, you won't understand a word. I'm pretty sure about that because it has happened to me. So I think it's a combination. And as most of you know, I'm an English teacher. So how do I teach English? What is my method? You're probably wondering that. Well, I try to combine all that in my lessons. Yes, it's a difficult task, but I think it worth it. Sorry. It's almost 12 o'clock at night and I'm here recording a video for you. So, sorry if my English is a bit there. Yeah, I was talking about my lessons. I try to combine everything because there are 4 main skills to learn a language: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And within those skills, you have the passive mode and the active mode. What does that mean? That means that you can learn something, but if you don't put it into practice, you will only have it in a passive way. Like, have you ever asked yourself, why do I understand more than I can speak? Or why do I read better than I write? Well, that's because when we are learning a language, we always have in the passive mode, okay, the things that we are learning. But you need to put it in the active mode. And how do you do that? By practicing. There's no other way. There's no magic exercise. There's no magic method. There's no strategy just to put it into practice. So for example, in a normal lesson, when I am the teacher, would be we learn a new grammar structure, for example, the passive. I explain how it works. I explain where you should put the verb to be, and where you should put the main verb of the sentence, and then you do the exercises, the typical fill in the gaps exercise. But then, after that, once you've grasped the passive, how it works, maybe we do a listening, maybe a piece of news, because in news, the passive mode is used a lot. So maybe we listen to a piece of news, and I tell my students, well, try to write some passive sentences that you are listening to in that piece of news. And after that, I tell them to tell me with their own words that piece of news. So they've been practicing the passive mode the whole hour. They started with an explanation, they did an exercise, they listened, and they talked. So they did the 4 skills. They read, they wrote, they listened, and they spoke. And you can do that with almost everything when you're learning language. And I don't know if it is a good method. I don't know if it can be, of course it can be improved. And one of the reasons that I'm doing these videos is because I want to hear or read or know your opinions about it. Because I've been teaching English only for 4 years, so I have a lot to learn. And probably I'm wrong in something, or I don't know how to do something, and maybe you have the solution for me. So that's why I make these videos. You can listen to me, correct me, tell me what you think, and then maybe if we work all together, we can all improve. So that's the main idea of these videos. I hope you didn't get bored. I hope I explained myself clearly. I don't know. As I said before, I'm a bit tired. And that's it. I don't know when I'm going to be able to make the next video, because as I said before, I'm with exams right now and I'm pretty busy studying. But don't worry, I will come back with more videos, with more fun, and with more things to learn. Thanks for watching.